Today, we will discuss how to create our own crypto token on the Ethereum network. This is an excerpt from a book co-authored by me with Praveen Soundararajan, who is the CEO of Crypto New Tech and Notes New Tech Networks. So this lecture is entirely based on publicly available information as well as on the book that goes by the same name of How to Create Your Own Crypto Token on the Ethereum Network, co-authored by me. So this section has several key components. First is it will teach you how to create and write your first smart contract in the Solidity programming language. You will understand the basics of the ERC20 standard, which is the Ethereum request for comments. We will uh, use what is known as the MetaMask browser plugin. We have briefly seen the MetaMask browser plugin when we demonstrated Ethereum wallets in an earlier session. We will look at how to use the Ringkebi Ethereum test network. We will use the Ringkebi Solidity compiler. We will use etherscan.io to understand transactions, and we will scan transactions from the public network. Finally, we will also use the Ringkebi authentication faucet. So what is a token? A token is used as or defined technically as a smart contract written in the Solidity programming language. Solidity itself is a fourth generation programming language. It's sort of self-contained, can be compiled with just a connection to the internet using the Remix editor. You pretty much all you need to know is understand programming language syntax, and you can go ahead and write your own smart contracts in this language. Okay, so the smart contracts once written is deployed in the binary form, and one of the formats of writing the smart contract is actually uh, on remix.ethereum.org. So you should refer to remix.ethereum.org, which is an openly available environment to code, compile, and run the Ethereum bytecode. There are several other environments to write Solidity smart contracts and compile them, like Visual Studio, Hyperledger, Fabric, etc. What are some of the other tools for smart contract programming? Visual Studio, ETH Fiddle, similar to Remixed Editor, Solidity smart contracts using Hyperledger Fabric. What is an ERC20 token? An ERC20 is a technical standard for smart contract development on the Ethereum blockchain for creating tokens. The main features of the ERC20's technical standard are as follows. ERC20 tokens have a standard naming convention for token name, token symbol, and token units. They are expressed in decimal formats of up to 18 decimals, including a few mandatory rules like total supply, balance of, transfer, transfer from, approve, allowance, etc. These rules include how tokens are transferred between two addresses and specify functions to both send and receive tokens. For example, the standard format to send and receive tokens. There are about four key functions. They are total supply, balance of, transfer, and transfer from. Each of these functions have a specific use. This function will return total token supply for a particular token. This function returns the balance of function returns the balance of accounts with addresses. The transfer function transfers the balance from one account to the other, and the transfer from function sends a pre-specified value from the token address to the destination address, which is address to. The other ERC functions are approve and allowance. The approve function allows the spender to approve spending tokens of a particular value from his own address, and the allowance function returns the amount which the spender is allowed to withdraw from the owner. first go to this URL that's pointed to here, and from there you copy the entire source code and paste it into remix.ethereum.org. Please be very careful. Do not miss a comma or a full stop or anything and then say, okay, this is not compiling. It's very important that you copy the whole thing. If you look at the source code there, you will see that the very first section documents all the public variables in the smart contract. The public variables are string public name, string public symbol, uint8 public decimals, so just a default, so on and so forth. Okay, so avoid changing the default values of uint public decimals, which is 18. However, feel free to change the public name. Right now I've used ntn coin and ntn, and then you can use uint 256 public total supply. You can basically set the total supply of the crypto tokens in supply. So here we've set it to 100,000. So 100,000 tokens exist on the network, which can be sent amongst different people on the network. These are small things you should do. Change the name of the token to something of your own, NTN coin. Then change the symbol of your token to something of your own. For example, here it's set to NTN. You can set it to your name or something of your network. Then we open the Remix browser and create a new Solidity file. We paste the ERC20 standard code and change the public variables of the contract as per our needs. We create our own token name, set the decimals, total supply limit, etc. For this exercise, just change the names and the symbol. That's sufficient. Please find the visual description. This is the diagram of the Solidity compiler. We have the compilers, we have the compiler's language, we have the version of the Ethereum virtual machine, and then we have the Solidity programming language interface on the right, which is seen here. This is exactly how it looked like once you copy this network and you try to copy the code over and try to build it. Okay. Once the source token ERC20 code is compiled, the private variables are added to the contract. Once the token contract is compiled, this token is deployed onto the test network and later onto the main network. Now let's look at the different steps taken to create this token, deploy it, so on and so forth. So how do we deploy this token? Right? First, we connect to test network using MetaMask, which is a browser plugin. We don't try to run it on the main network because in the main network you actually have to spend money to transfer tokens or create tokens, run the contract, so on and so forth. Whereas in the test network, you can use what are known as faucets. You can get dummy Ethereum to spend. Okay, so MetaMask is actually a browser extension for accessing Ethereum applications. It also provides wallet support to hold Ethereum for various browsers, for Chrome, Firefox, Opera, and Brave. You can download the MetaMask plugin and create the MetaMask account in your browser. So you log into your MetaMask account using your private key or the password. Change your account network from the main Ethereum network to the Rinkeby test network. You choose like this one from the MetaMask UI. You choose the Rinkeby test network. You can see that here. And once you choose the Rinkeby test network, this will be the network on which your code will actually execute for you to test. The very next step is to get free test ether for the Rinkeby test network. How do you get the free test ether for the Rinkeby test network? Here we will use the Rinkeby test network to deploy the contract and test our NTN token. In order to set up the test token, one needs to pay a transaction fee to enable processing the contract. Okay, this transaction fee is paid in ether. In order to get free ether for the test network, you need to share your Ethereum address on the social media like Twitter or Facebook and paste the social share link in the Rinkeby authenticated faucet, which is faucet.rinkeby.io. Okay, if you are using other test networks, you can also develop the same contract on, say, a test network like Ropsten. You can directly get the corresponding ether from faucet.metamask.io and test out your smart contract token. So the very first step, one can just request one Ethereum and your MetaMask balance will then be one test ether. Please note that you cannot sell this for fiat currency since this is on the testnet. It is used only for experimental purposes. Okay, so you should be able to click give me ether button to request free ether from the software known as the Rinkeby authenticated faucet. So what is a Rinkeby authenticated faucet? So Rinkeby authenticated faucet is like this. You basically paste your social share link and click give me ether on the Rinkeby authenticated faucet, and then you should be able to see what is the Rinkeby network. Once you're done with the above process, wait for 10 minutes and check your MetaMask account for free test ether. Here the MetaMask account with free test ether contains various functionalities. You can transfer this test ether, or you can transfer a part of the test ether to other accounts, so on and so forth. Okay, so the Rinkeby test network works like this. You basically set it up, you have total amount of ether here, and this ether is actually used to transfer amongst different subnetworks. Okay, we deploy the contract onto the Rinkeby test network. After receiving free test ethers, go to Remix compiler and click the deploy and run transaction button. In the tab below the Solidity compiler icon, add the following details for deploy and run transaction in the contract. So before we actually run this contract, so we have to know that Remix interface provides 3 different execution environments to deploy the contract. The first one is actually a JavaScript virtual machine. So this execution environment does not connect to any node. Everything is local and in memory only. This is ideal to test. There is an injected Web3. So this execution environment, which supports the MetaMask or other wallet, is used by the Remix interface. And then there's a Web3 provider. This execution environment connects to the node at localhost, and transactions will be sent to the network. This can cause loss of ether directly without consent. What we are going to use here is the injected Web3 environment described above, which is connected to the MetaMask to deploy the contract onto the Rinkeby test network. There is this connect to Remix account with your MetaMask account. In the deploy box, add the following details from the primary variable, that is UN256 initial supply, which has a string token name and the token symbol. Once this is connected onto the inject web3, the contract is actually deployed and run on the network. You then click the transact, and then the contract is deployed to an address that we connect to in the MetaMask wallet. This address can also be used with the Ethereum domains, which is testnet.eth. MetaMask will then initialize these transactions, and we click to confirm with the transaction to deploy the new contract to this particular address. So it will burn a small amount of ether as a transaction fee by converting to gas. And this is exactly why you need to actually use Ethereum and from the faucet, so that you can initialize these transactions and deploy this transaction to a particular address presented in the MetaMask wallet. So if this address does not exist and the contract is not actually deployed or associated with the address, then you cannot use the funds balance in the network. So you click confirm on MetaMask and then the contract will be deployed. So the MetaMask notification is as follows. You have this MetaMask and then you have a wallet and the set of transactions in the wallet which are used to actually notify this transaction. So how do we check whether the NTN token is running? So we check where this contract for the NTN token is running. To check whether this transaction is successful or not, we use the etherscan.io for the Rinkeby testnet. We go to https://rinkeby.etherscan.io. This will actually show the transaction and the contract creation details of the address. We are doing this contract creation like this. We set the balance, we have this overview, and then we set up the contract creation on the Rinkeby test network. Whatever address you give on the Ether MetaMask wallet or your Ethereum wallet will show up here. You can search based on that. It will tell you this is the balance of Ether available on the testnet, and it will tell you all this transaction. It will tell you that the contract is created on the right, and then it will tell you at what time, what date, so on and so forth. This contract is active, and so on. Okay. You can view the block where this contract is created. So to view this contract, you just click the transaction ID like this. So you might have a different number. Once you get this transaction ID, you click this, you should be able to see what is exactly in the transaction, what is the block address of this transaction, so on and so forth. Okay, so here we can view the successful transaction of the NTN token contract as seen in the next screen. So we have seen this at several instances during the course. Here, this figure, you see the transaction details. We have the Rinkeby testnet transaction only. We see the transaction hash so shown on top. We see the wallet address 0x44EF 6F98. Then we have the exact contract name which was actually created here, and then the transaction fee which was spent from your wallet's faucet. Now if you look at your wallet, you can see that there is a small debit that has happened in your wallet as well. Now the contract is deployed successfully and NTN token is generated on the Ethereum blockchain with a supply limit of 100,000. You can send these NTN tokens to some other address or use it as your own cryptocurrency for various purposes. We'll see how that is done next. As a next step, we add our tokens to our MetaMask account. So we go to the MetaMask account and then click add token in the Rinkeby test network. You add your contract address in the custom token space. You can then see your token symbol in the symbol area of the MetaMask plugin. You click next so that you can view your token, then click add token. Once your token is added, you can send and receive to other addresses on the network. We'll see an example of that in the next slide. How does this look? So here is how you add the token. You provide the contract address here, you give the token symbol NTN, and then you can say the decimals of precision. It basically loads it as 18, and it will tell you that this is the new token that is added. Click on add token, and give this token, select custom token, token contract address, so on and so forth. And this token is now added to your. Once we create our token and smart contract, what you would want to do is probably send it to another wallet address of your friend or somebody else, of your peer, your somebody in your family or something, to just see that it's working on the test network. But however, this is not the end of it, right? So how do we actually deploy it in the mainnet? Because whatever we do in the test net is only for testing purposes. So to launch this token on the main network, you need to do the following process. In the first step, instead of NKB faucet and NKB test network, you choose main network in the MetaMask and connect to the Remix interface. So you repeat the entire process to launch in the mainnet. Note that this will mean spending actual Ethereum and can cause a true financial loss. What this means is you have to buy Ethereum from a site like Coinbase or any other place that accepts US dollars and deposit corresponding US dollars in a network and leave it there. And then each time somebody has to send Ether or somebody has to send this NTN token to somebody else, they have to spend Ether from the corresponding wallet. Okay, this token name is not unique to each contract. If one has to create something akin to a unique token, one has to create a unique Ethereum domain and then use the domain address to receive and send custom tokens.